breaking the wall to wildlife conservation with refugees. Lucy Brown, Zoological Society of London, Great Britain.
Imagine you're seeking asylum in the UK and you've not yet got refugee status. You're living on £5.66 a day. This is to cover all your basic needs, from food, transport, medicine, clothing. You can't access state-funded education, especially higher education. So for engagement with climate, the barriers are stacked. You likely had gaps in education, which means that you likely haven't received information or training to be able to engage or lead climate initiatives. I'm just going to share some quotes from our project, from our participants, that can speak to the challenges better than I can. I left my country at a young age and went through so many difficulties and struggles. You do pay the price of not having a childhood and education to have a better life. I hope in my life I can fly just like a bird, without walls, stops, and rules. We know it would be common that you'd be feeling really isolated. You're no longer close to your support network that you'd closely rely on. Think about who you'd go to when you're having a bad day: your friends, family, colleagues, community. And we know it would be difficult for you to be able to connect with your new UK community. And on the flip side, there are few opportunities for UK citizens, like our researchers, to be able to meet you, support you, have an exchange and a meeting of minds. But here comes Refugia, our project. Refugia is a co-produced project between the New Art Studio, a therapeutic arts group for asylum seekers, refugees, and us, the Zoological Society of London, a wildlife conservation charity. We co-produced the project together. It was a fully collaborative project. We did everything together, from planning, reflecting, changes, and project design. Really, we should all be up on this stage, not just me. So when we were planning the project, we brought together our aims and our needs of both communities. So from the New Art Studio side, they brought the needs of wanting to feel more connected and embedded in the UK with a sense of community. And they also wanted to develop new creative techniques. From the ZSL side, we wanted to develop an environmental sciences and climate change engagement program with training and capacity building for researchers, but we also wanted to develop a program that shared skills and power, and shared power and skills to be able to have a mutual exchange. So what did the project look like? We had 5 co-produced sessions on a different scientific theme and a different creative practice, and then at the end, a co-produced celebration event. The aim was to be able to have mutual sharing from the beginning, but we started with ZSL researchers sharing their work so that New Art Studio members could start to feel safe with us, understand the space, and when they were ready to share with us, they could. We weren't sure if we were going to get to that point, but by point 3, 4, and 5, we were mutually sharing. So what were the sessions and what did they look like? The first was wildlife coexistence, human and wildlife coexistence and sketching. The second was cyanotype, which is a light-sensitive paper and life in our cities. The third was forests and printing. The fourth, animal migration and black and white techniques. And 5, life in water and watercolor. And for the 6th, we weren't sure what a co-produced celebration event could look like, but we decided we'd do a big public exhibition. So in a month, we put it together. We showed over 300 pieces of work from both researchers and participants, and we had over 600 people visit us in 2 weeks. And that's the project. So how did we make the program equitable? That's actually where we spent most of our budget. We spent it on paying for translators and translation for everything in the project. We covered all of the New Art Studio time for co-production, and we covered all art resources for participants. The project, I think, was a massive success. We knocked it out the park. We think this is the first project that combined conservation science, therapeutic art techniques, and with people with lived experience of forced migration. We've got stats, and it's from the members that filled out the form. 100% of members said that they learned about our work conserving wildlife, have a better understanding and connectedness to wildlife, general feeling of well-being from our sessions, and 100% wanted the sessions to continue. 73% of research, from the flip side, from the ZSL side, 73% of ZSL participants said that they wanted to do more public engagement from being involved in the project, and 54% said they had gained greater confidence in engaging with people in underserved and underrepresented groups. This project showed conversations about climate and nature with creativity can really break down that wall between the two communities for really powerful impact. Thank you.
Do we have questions? Yes. Where are we? Yes, here.
Hi. Thank you so much for sharing your work. One question I would say, I mean, I could be totally out of line over here because I'm not a refugee myself, so I might be asking the wrong question. But what makes someone work with you rather than looking for bread and butter? Or is this a way to get away from all the chaos that they're going through? I'm really sorry.
Yeah. Again, like, there's so much of this where I feel like I'm not necessarily the person to be answering it, as you've said in your question. So again, I can only say from my experience of being on my side of the project with my lived experience. But yeah, it's 100% of the participants had an improvement in well-being. They're part of a therapeutic art studio. And so when we bring the project together, we start by asking what their aims and needs are, and we make that a priority while also engaging in environmental science. So just to recheck I've answered your question, why should they do it? Something that we found from the project, we assumed, because like a lot of our colleagues and us at ZSL, when you're having a bad mental health day, you just think, what does my one plastic cup matter? Like, ugh, this is kind of the extra thing I need to think about is sustainability. But actually, despite not having stable food and housing, all the members have a really deep interest and care for nature and want to know how to protect it. So that was just our projection from our experiences, but they are really, really engaged and want to know and understand what they can do.
I have questions here.
Are there any concrete plans to repeat the series in any way beyond the first iteration you mentioned?
Amazing question, thank you. So we've expanded out to 8 more groups. We're limited on funding, so it was only £10,000. It was a pilot grant to get us started. So we're looking to be able to expand it. So it's just my time at the moment that I can spend to work with further groups. So it can't be like a full project, because the main learning is that covering needs and removing barriers is really expensive. So at the moment, with no budget behind it, we're just developing more relationships with groups so we can start to understand their needs and what they'd like in co-production. But we've done that with 8 more groups, and we've got 8 on the waiting list to be able to expand to work with when we have the budget. Thank you.
Do we have more questions from the jury? Otherwise, there is a room question, quick one. Yeah, here, like in the middle. Yeah.
Do you have also any refugee scholar collaborating with this project? Any scientists that they are refugee?
Do we have any refugee scholars? That's where we're hoping to be able to expand the program out. So as I said, it started as a really small pilot, but we've met some connections during Berlin Science Week. I think there's amazing work supporting scientists in exiles going on in Berlin. I'm hoping to have conversations to see how we can expand out that work. That's a great point.
Thank you.
Okay.